This is Alana Cibrian of Wolf Broadcast News with your weekly update. This week, we will be talking about the presidential campaigns of Nikki Haley, Cory Booker, and Ralph Nader. On June 6th, Nikki Haley and Cory Booker announced their candidacy to the public. Let's take a look.
Good morning, fellow Americans. It is once again with great honor and distinction to speak before you all. I'm sure many of you know why I'm here. My name is Cory Booker. I'm the junior Democratic senator from New Jersey, former two-term mayor of the city of Newark.
Oh yeah, you were?
And today, I am announcing my candidacy for the presidency of the United States.
It brings me great joy to be able to work for the American people and do everything in my power to allow each and every individual in the United States to pursue their goals. And that is why I'm proud to stand before you all this morning and announce that I, Nikki Haley, am running for President of the United States. Woo!
We got a chance to sit down with some of the politicians to see what they thought about the candidates announcing their candidacy and who they supported right out of the gate.
Are you here? Who are you here for? I'm supporting Nikki Haley. I think she's a great candidate. I think she has the experience to make a great president.
I'm leaning towards Nikki Haley right now, but I'm not 100% sure.
Why are you leaning that way?
She has more Republican viewpoints. I mean, I very much appreciated her comments on the American dream. That's something that I hold very close to my heart.
I think that Ms. Haley did a wonderful job at her press conference, so I think I'm on my way to an official endorsement.
And are you officially going to endorse Ms. Haley?
Yes, I believe I will.
What did you like about Mr. Booker's press conference?
Well, I mean, it was, let me get my thoughts together. His speech was very enlightening, and it was just very effective in getting the American people, I don't know what I'm saying.
I think Senator Schumer is an excellent politician, a good man with a good heart, and oftentimes he has pushed for things that he believes are best for this country. Currently as a vice presidential candidate, they are of course sensitive materials. I will not disclose whether or not he is on the list right now, but as soon as we have that, I will be sure to deliver to you.
Are you saying he's not? He is on the list.
I have no comment on whether he is or is not on our vice presidential candidate.
Really appreciated Nikki Haley's comments on what she was going to do for education. She said that she believed the future of kids shouldn't be controlled solely by their zip code, which is something I really advocate for. Personally, I'm looking forward to seeing what Nikki Haley will do for this country's education system, which is currently could be doing better.
I am supporting the Nikki Haley campaign.
So, why do you support Nikki Haley's tax plan?
Well, we haven't heard any full briefs of her policy yet, so I'm unsure of whether they're strong enough for me. But personally, tax cuts should be a priority of the government. She seems like she works well with her constituents, and even her bipartisan viewpoint, I think, is good. I think we're going to have to reach a lot of people to get across this Republican agenda, and I believe she is a good candidate.
Do you think Cory Booker is qualified?
I believe Cory Booker is a qualified candidate, but I don't know if he represents the American ideals that we want to be sending down to our children and the more fiscally responsible plan that I think Nikki Haley will show. I believe Cory Booker is lacking there.
Do you have a hope?
Soon afterwards, the campaigns held press conferences that took a surprising turn.
My name is Ralph Nader, and I am announcing today that I am leaving Nikki Haley's campaign, where I was formerly Foreign and Domestic Policy Coordinator. I'm leaving Nikki Haley's campaign primarily because she's a weak candidate, and so is Cory Booker. Neither of these people stand for any real issues. All of Cory Booker's issues, criminal justice reform, who's not for it at that point? We all know the system is screwed up. He's not taking any dignified positions.
As you can see, Ralph Nader did not hold anything back from his opponents, later comparing Democratic candidate Cory Booker to Hitler. When WBN executive Amy Gordy brought this to the attention of Booker's co-director of communications and media, Hicks, during a press conference, she responded with surprise.
Nader has made comments comparing Cory Booker to Hitler. What is your campaign's response to that?
I think that those comments are completely unfounded. I think he needs to do more research, but we will talk with him and see why he feels this way and maybe change something about ourselves in our campaign so that we can be more of a representative for the people instead of a dictator. Yes.
After Nader's name calling, the public was shocked when Nader announced his vice president to be Cory Booker. Nikki Haley also announced her vice presidential candidate to be Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
The guy, in this case, and I am pleased to announce that Senator Cory Booker will be joining my campaign as my vice presidential candidate. So Cory, if you want to come up and speak real quick.
I'm very excited to announce that Representative Paul Ryan, who is the Speaker of the House, will be joining me on this campaign. Representative Ryan embodies many of the same ideals for the future of this country as I do, and I'm excited to go forward with him and work with him to make this country even better than it already is.
Our reporter Max Casey Bolaños also had an opportunity to talk to the candidate and their vice presidents for an exclusive interview. Here's what they had to say.
I think this campaign is a good opportunity to provide Americans with the campaign they need, honestly. We have a unique amount of experience between the two of us, with her as governor and ambassador, and me as Speaker of the House. So this campaign gives us a lot of opportunity to do America well. Well, it's just a testament to a lack of commitment on their part. But I think our campaign is focusing on us, and we don't want to put down the other candidates. So we're just showing up to conferences and making sure that our voices are heard.
I think Speaker Ryan and I work very well together. We have similar goals and similar ideologies, and that, I believe, will really allow us to cater to the American people, get things done efficiently, and be true leaders in the White House that represent all the people.
Well, I think that will definitely come to pass, and we will discuss more about this, especially, once we come into office and we establish our first 100-day policy efforts. Beginning with environmental reform, I think something that's going to happen is I'll be taking up many of the areas in which we are compatible, so especially with, the corporations and business side. New Jersey is known for having many financial headquarters of numerous corporations, of which I have relations to, and we have, a start for negotiations with. Mr. Nader, of course, has, lots of experience dealing with the legislative process of environmental reform, through which I believe our compatibility can really allow us to skewer all sides of the issue in order to get things done first.
Well, can I answer that question?
Yes, go for it.
I think that we are going to continue with criminal justice reform. I just don't think I don't believe, and I continue to not believe, that was a particularly strong point to campaign on. I think that in his previous campaign, Senator Booker focused a little bit too much on that. I think that's on the agenda, but I think that the American people deserve more cohesive points.
The surprises continued with an official banning of DC Daily reporter Lintaro Donovan from Nikki Haley's campaign headquarters for violations of the Society of Professional Journalists Code of Ethics. Candidate Haley explained this decision in an interview.
The Nader campaign is under the impression that we are banning journalists simply for not signing the Code of Ethics. That is untrue. We are not enforcing that. We have made statements to them that clarify our position, and that is that we will only ban journalists when they outright break the SPJ Code of Ethics, and that is the reason why we banned Lintaro Donovan, a DC Daily journalist. He accepted refreshments from us without paying, which was a violation of the Code of Ethics. However, if a journalist comes to us and does not have a signed copy of the Code of Ethics, that is not a sole reason for us to ban them. We will be disappointed because we believe the Code of Ethics is important for journalists to sign and abide by, but again, we will not ban them just for not having that signed.
Haley took these matters seriously and established stricter rules for reporters during campaign events.
When I was about 4 years old, my sister and I entered a beauty pageant in our hometown of Bamberg, South Carolina. Because the pageant staff had traditionally crowned one white winner and one black winner, my sister and I were disqualified because we didn't fit into either of the categories. That experience truly hurt me, and I believe that it is what fostered my vision for opportunity for each and every American that I hold in my campaign today.
Like Haley's parents, my father was a legal immigrant, and I feel that that experience really helps you realize that the American dream isn't just a dream.
I think Nikki Haley represents a lot of things that are good about America and the Republican Party.
My name is Senator Rand Paul, and I am officially announcing my endorsement of the presidential candidate Nikki Haley.
I lift weights
Nikki Haley uplifts the American people.
I'm Nikki Haley, and I approve this message.
The candidates spoke about their policy platforms in an official press release. Let's take it over to Max to hear what they had to say.
Thanks, Alana. Earlier today, the candidates gave us their take on the important issues ahead of their busy campaigns, beginning with healthcare.
My goal as president will be to abandon the notion of a one-size-fits-all universal healthcare system in favor of creating policy that will present patrons with a variety of healthcare options that cater to their individual needs. I am also in favor of abandoning federal mandates that are detrimental to healthcare in each state, and believe that we should advance legislation that will begin our transition to a pay-for-performance type health system.
Obamacare, it was a step in the right direction, but it wasn't far enough, and we need to replace it with a single-payer system where everyone is covered at birth. It should be simple and straightforward, unlike Obamacare.
The candidates also spoke about the prevalent issue of gun control. Ms. Haley outlined a clear plan for gun control, as Mr. Nader also spoke on the issue as well.
I'm saddened by the tragedies of gun violence that have taken so many innocent lives, especially the lives of our children in the past months. I am willing to seek out a middle ground on this issue and find a happy medium. However, I strongly believe that our founding fathers gave us our Second Amendment rights for a reason, and am passionate about protecting the rights of Americans to own and carry firearms in a concealed manner.
We also need common sense gun control. Now, we all know about all of these tragic mass shootings that are happening. We've had 112 mass shootings in 2018 alone. We can stop these. We can. It's this simple. We need to mandate trigger locks on guns nationwide. We need to ban bump stocks and citizen ownership of military-style assault weapons. And we need to implement universal background checks to help ensure that people who should not be getting guns are not getting guns.
Lastly, Mr. Nader concerned many with his claim for the future of America, under his leadership, seeming far too nonchalant for a man attempting to take the most powerful office in the United States.
It's not that hard.
On Friday, the day started off with an environmental rally led by Representative Joe Kennedy, former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Representative Tulsi Gabbard.
Work on both sides of the aisle to accomplish our goals. This should not be a partisan issue. Change starts with conversation and compromise, and that is what we are here to do today. Thank you.
Work in organizing this. We know that issues like climate change, like clean air, like clean water, like reducing pollution and switching to renewable energy are not partisan issues. They shouldn't be things that we are looking at as Democratic or Republican. They are things that we should all be striving towards and things that we should all be changing. I believe that several of you think that I don't support the environment. In fact, I was just accused by a journalist of hating the environment. And some of you may think that I believe industry comes first. But I would just like to say here and now that those statements are not true. I believe that the world is warming, that the climate is changing, and those are things we need to tackle collectively and across the board using collaborative, bipartisan solutions. I'm looking forward during my campaign and during my term to doing just that, and I hope that you will all join me in that journey. Thank you.
Later that day, former director of the CIA, James Comey, announced to the world his candidacy for the President of the United States. Unfortunately, Comey was not able to be part of the debates at the end of the day, but Haley and Nader were able to further establish their policy stances and have important discussions throughout the debate. However, in the middle of the debates, a manic woman claiming to be Nikki Haley rose up from the crowd and created a disruption, but was quickly subdued by security. On Monday, Oprah Winfrey conducted an interview with Mr. Nader and Senator Booker in which the public was able to tweet questions for the candidate and his running mate. Let's take a look at what happened.
During the special, tension could be seen between the running mates, especially when Oprah Winfrey asked about the changes during the campaign.
How has your campaign changed over time?
Well, I'd say that from the beginning there has been a slight shift in focus, especially with Mr. Nader's arrival to our campaign and his kind of bombastic entrance into this electoral campaign.
Winfrey then asked completely apolitical questions like the candidate's favorite colors and foods.
What's your favorite color?
All the colors are wonderful.
The strange part of this is that Nader couldn't actually seem to answer the questions, but instead rambled about limitations.
You know, I've been around a long time. I've had a lot of great food, and I think that when it comes down to it, you know, having a favorite food, that would be so limited.
Although this is a pretty insignificant question, the indecisive behavior brings up the worries that if voted in, he would not be able to make the difficult decisions necessary for running the nation.
I wouldn't ever pick a favorite.
But you didn't answer my question. What's your favorite food?
I don't have a favorite.
Oprah rounded out the special in probably the most Oprah way possible, giving everyone in the cheering audience cars.
If you check under your seats, you have a car now. Yes, you get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car.
The audience full of reporters and politicians. A bribe? Possibly. A violation of the SPJ Code of Ethics? Definitely.
During the last press conference before the elections, the Nader-Booker campaign seemed rather disheveled and disorganized, clearly struggling to answer questions concerning his campaign funds, his running mate's past, and even the actions of his own past.
Have you ever taken money from big oil and big tobacco?
Not to my knowledge, no. And I think it's incredibly irresponsible to be taking money from PACs that don't have the people's best interests at heart. You know, I think it's really important.
Has your running mate ever taken money from big oil, big tobacco?
Not to my knowledge.
Don't you think it's irresponsible to not have knowledge of where your running mate's money comes from?
Well, I can tell you under my campaign, we have not taken any financing from big oil or big tobacco or anything like that. As to Mr. Booker's previous campaigns, I do not have access to those documents.
Well, I do, and it says he took $5,387 from big tobacco, dorsal tobacco, as well as, $673,286 from ExxonMobil.
Well, I can't speak to those charges specifically. You'd have to ask Senator Booker about that.
Unions are so great, then why is it that whenever your company or your magazine, the Multinational Monitor, tried to unionize, you transferred ownership to close friends, promptly fired the Tim Sharrock, the man who filed the union papers. In addition, the management of your own magazine charged him with theft of his own work papers, and then refused to drop.
Sir, what is your question?
And so I'm asking why.
Great. Mr. Nader, I was just looking at an Elephant in the Room news article, and you claim to be a man of the people, yet you would pay your workers who had 60 to 80 hour work weeks $13,000 and less.
What?
$13,000 and less per year.
When?
Yeah, I've been around a long time.
What is your
question?
In 1976, they were paid only $5,000 per year. His workers under his company. Do you have a comment
Which
on
company?
What are we talking about?
Yeah, what?
During the last day of the campaign, allegations were confirmed about Cory Booker and Ted Cruz's romantic relationship during the special with Oprah, and then again during a press conference on the same day when Heidi Cruz made an appearance. Let's take a look.
Well, I know there's been a bit of controversy around my relationship with Senator Cruz, but I am proud to say that Senator Cruz and I are engaged in a relationship. Senator Cruz is one of the best people I've ever known, and I am blessed each and every day to be able to spend my time with Senator Cruz.
I'm sorry, you compared your relationship with Senator Cruz to a marriage. Do you have intentions of marrying Senator Cruz?
Do you have intentions of marrying your significant other? You know, I believe that my personal relationship...
How dare you, and how dare both of you?
Ma'am!
You were having an affair
You must
behind
sit
my
down
back.
right now!
What? You were having an affair behind my back with my husband? How dare both of you? I ought to smack you in front of everybody in this room. And I have to find out during a press conference? Are you serious? What about little Caroline? What about little Christine? How could you, Teddy? What?
That's Heidi Cruz.
I came here in support, wearing the sweatshirt that we bought when you proposed to me at Cape May. How dare you? You are not fit to run this nation. You can't tell your own wife. You can't tell your own wife you had an affair.
You're dead, dog. You're dead.
How dare you?
Hi.
How dare you?
Ma'am, please leave.
I will not forget this.
Good for you.
I'll speak to any press who wish.
I did go home over the weekend and talk to her about it. I'm not quite sure exactly what prompted that particular outburst, but we had talked about it. We had talked about filing a divorce, and I believe that everyone is happy. So I'm personally very confused by her actions.
So you believed your wife would be happy with you having an affair with a man during your marriage before divorce papers?
I'm sorry.
So I was asked to come to this press conference in support of my husband and his friend, Mr. Cory Booker, and I found out through Mr. Booker himself that he plans to marry my husband. And I felt disgusted, I felt betrayed, I felt utterly distraught. I mentioned that I felt like I was now a footnote in my husband's life, and I feel that Mr. Booker will only see people he chooses to as footnotes. He will go to those who open up their bed for him, and he'll leave the others who have put their loyalty in him as a footnote. And I feel he will leave the American people behind, just as my husband left me for him.
Voting begins today after this broadcast, and we encourage all of our viewers to get out the vote. From all of us here at Wolf Broadcast News, have a wonderful week.